We do not blame the lawlessness of an individual on a whole community. What we also know is that there is not a single evidence that the president or his coolies have put forth that there are any single resource from taxpayers in Minnesota that has gone to aid and abet terrorism. That language is dangerous. That language puts the lives of Somalis not only in Minnesota, but across the country in danger. And if the president believed that and he had evidence, he would take people to court. So we are sick and tired of the president waking up one day and deciding to put forth falsehoods and demonize whole communities, while the ignorant people that support him then take the lies that he's spreading and use it as a fact. We've seen it during the campaign where he said Asians were eating cats and dogs. We've seen his vice president repeat those lies. We've seen the media run it as a headline as if it was a fact. That is shameful. That is shameful. That is ignorant. It makes us look like a stupid nation that does not believe in truth but traffics in lies. It makes the world mock us, and we are better than that. We are better than that as Americans.
I cannot wait for us to get her stuff and expose her and get her out of this country. The defiance, the boldness to come here and to call American citizens ignorant. She's one of the most powerful people in the world. She has a seat in Congress, and she hates this country. I want to share something with you from a lady named Laura Loomer. And she's got the goods on her, and she's had the goods on her. The only problem is we haven't had people in Congress who had the intestinal fortitude to act upon this evidence. I believe that her poking the bear with these messages and slandering President Donald Trump and attacking his name and attacking this country and attacking the people in this country should wake Pam Bundy up and the Justice Department to say, hey, listen, we're going to bring all of her stuff up, her fraud, and we got to get her out of the country. Now, fraud eviscerates everything. If she committed fraud to bring her brother in here, she married her brother who is gay. She brought him in here, she married him, and you know what I mean? Now he's a citizen, he was getting student loans and all of that. That's fraud. And I don't think fraud has a statute of limitations. Yes, there is a statute of limitation for fraud, but it varies significantly depending on the justification and the specific type of fraud. For federal cases, the statute of limitation for mail and wire fraud is typically 5 years, but it is 10 years for schemes that affect a financial institution. In many state cases, it can range from a few years to 7 or more. But in some serious crimes, like tax fraud with intent to evade, may have no statute of limitation. That's good to know. Her fraud, I believe, is a type of fraud that does not have a statute of limitation. I'm gonna play this video. If you want to see the full video, I will put a link to it in my description box.
You voted against legislation that would have made FGM a felony. Why is she so hateful against Israel? Are they going to recognize the United States decision to recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel?
Time for Ilhan!
She married her brother. Ilhan, why did you marry your brother? Ilhan Omar married her brother. She committed immigration fraud so that her brother could get a green card.
That's up to the government.
And the government has decided that immigration fraud is a crime and incest is illegal in the United States of America. It is a violation of campaign finance rules to use your campaign funds to pay for your divorce from your brother. CARE is recognized as a designated terrorist organization in United Arab Emirates. Both of these candidates have been endorsed by CARE, a terrorist organization. The federal government found during the Holy Land Foundation trial that CARE
Now, she's right. She's very right about this CAIR, CAIR. Recently, President Donald Trump has designated the Muslim Brotherhood and all of their links to terrorist organizations. He's designated them as terrorist organizations. Now, guess which one of those was named recently? CAIR. These two ladies, Ilhan Omar, tell her to leave. That's how I remember her name. I always say, tell her to leave. Tell her to leave. Are linked to Muslim Brotherhood, and those people have been funding their campaigns for many years. Isn't that fraud? Isn't that terror? That's a way to get her out of here. Laura Loomer's right on it.
They were funding Hamas, which Rashida, candidate for Congress, supports. She needs to decide whether she's an American or a Muslim first. Is she a Palestinian or is she an American first?
Great job, Laura Loomer. Read something from her X account. Ilhan Omar's marriage records have already been made public, and this has been suggested in 2018. And all of the records are exclusive report in 2018, not 2019. You can see them and read them here. I'm going to put a link to this website. It has all of this stuff. It has photos. This is her at North Dakota State University. That's her when she was a kid, right there. Here is the marriage to her brother. The marriage certificate has all of this. Is irrefutable evidence. The Republicans refused to move her. This is her brother, the one that she married. He's gay. And she wanted to get him out of Somalia because it's Muslim, right? And you know what they do to people that's of the LGBT backdoorians. You know, they throw them off a building. So she was worried about his safety and got him out of there, brought him out here so he could get loans at North Dakota State, just like she did. No loans and grants. So if we want to get rid of this woman, if we really want her out of here, we need Congress to act and we need the DOJ to act. This is what Laura Loomer was also saying. I don't know why every single conservative feels the need to grandstand over Ilhan Omar, who's married to her gay brother, so he could live in the United States and also get student loans from North Dakota State University, as I exclusively reported in 2018, 2019, as has been known since before she was even elected to Congress. I actually am on a video confronting Ilhan Omar about her marriage to her brother in 2018 before she was elected. I confronted both her and Rashida Tlaib before anyone knew who they were and before they were elected to Congress. I called Ilhan Omar to be removed from the ballot, even and gave the information to Fox News in 2018. Guess who was president in 2018? President Donald Trump. But President Donald Trump couldn't do it. His hand was tied because guess what was the major story at that time? Russia, Russia, Russia. They refused to cover it and said it was an anti-Muslim conspiracy theory. I proved that her ties to Islamic terrorist groups and exposed her anti-Semitism before she was ever elected. Now, years later, after I was debanked and deplatformed and my life canceled since 2018 over my reporting into Ilhan Omar, people pretend like they are doing such a profound and amazing work exposing what has already been exposed. I take great offense to this since I am the person who put in the work and lost everything doing so. My life still hasn't been made whole either. And even though I break these stories before everyone else, you notice you never see me on TV or on other platforms because I'm still banned for telling the truth. Now, I agree with that. My life has been hit too, and I'm still in recovery. I was on YouTube they kicked me off for 4 years. 4 years. You know, I had a growing, thriving, monetized YouTube, which I'm not even monetized now. And if you look at my numbers, you can see that I'm still shadow banned. I'm still shadow banned. I might get maybe 50 views per video. And I'm not complaining. I'm happy to be back. Thank you, YouTube. Thank you for restoring my channel. But when you tell truth in this day and time, it's crazy. You will pay a major price. And then you'll have people that don't want to be closely associated with you. Laura Loomer ran for Congress. I think she would be a great congresswoman. Matter of fact, she goes to President Donald Trump's office and exposes stuff, and next thing you know, people getting fired the next day. So Laura Loomer is trusted by President Donald Trump, and she breaks news. But what happens is people like her who are bold, like she confronted them like that. Now she's labeled as a conspiracy theorist, and nobody wants to be around a conspiracy theorist. They're not going to invite you to their platforms. They're not going to invite you onto their shows. None of that stuff. You get nothing. You don't get any funds for your campaign. None of that. And I'm a living witness to it. And I'm not even an extremist. I'm an extreme Christian now. Now I've had people. I'm extreme. Yeah, I got saved at 17. I love the Lord Jesus. You know, and I want to go to heaven. And the Bible gives me that map and roadway to heaven. So I'm not going to let nobody rip that out of my hands or out of my heart. So, yeah, I mean, I don't care whether I'm running for Congress or running for the U.S. president. I'm never going to let go of Jesus's hands. Never.
Good evening. Breaking tonight, President Donald Trump posting on Truth Social that he will terminate the temporary protected status for Somalis in Minnesota. In his post, he says the reason is, quote, Minnesota, under Governor Walz, is a hub of fraudulent money laundering activity. I am, as the President of the United States, hereby terminating, effective immediately, the temporary protected status, TPS program, for Somalis in Minnesota. Somali gangs are terrorizing the people of that great state, and billions of dollars are missing. Send them back to where they came from. It's over, President DJT, end quote. Now, we have reached out to Governor Tim Walz for a comment, but have not heard back tonight. Somalia's protective status currently runs through March 2026. Now, tonight, Congresswoman Ilhan Omar responding to Trump's post on Twitter, saying, I am a citizen and so are majority of Somalis in America. Good luck celebrating a policy change that really doesn't have much impact on the Somalis you love to hate. We are here to stay.
This next story should be a wake-up call to all Americans, however. Over the weekend, the president calling Minnesota a hub of fraudulent activity and ending protected status for Somalis living in Minnesota after a new study by independent journalist Chris Rufo exposed a spectacular Somali fraud ring stealing millions and tens of millions of dollars from Medicaid and sending that money back to the motherland to support their friends, their families, or to just outright fund terrorism in a very dangerous Islamic country. The money stolen was designated to help the autistic children in the state of Minnesota, where federal funding had to increase from $3 million to nearly $400 million in just 5 years, in large part because of this scam.
Did you hear that? The autism Medicaid scam. Now, this also ties into the insurance companies. The insurance companies that President Donald Trump says that he doesn't want to fund. He wants to now give the money to the people and let them go out and shop for it. But these insurance companies, they should have red flagged a lot of this stuff a long time ago, but look at the money it's paying. So look.
Hundreds of millions of dollars. The number of autism providers in Minnesota went from 41 to 326, in large part because of this scam. Claims that 1 in 16 Somalian 4-year-olds had been diagnosed with autism, a rate that would have been more than triple the average. This was a seriously complex scam involving a lot of people. It's despicable. These are people that came here as refugees and then figure out how to scam the system even further. A lot of
Oh, I bet they living nice. I bet you one thing. These Somalians are riding around in some very nice cars. And they're able to fund whomever they want to run for a political office. And they're living in nice homes while the residents there in Minnesota are having a hard time because they're paying for this.
Them lied to get into the country, lied about who they had married just to get in. They get here and they start stealing from us and sending it back home. The president responding, get the hell out. Ilhan Omar responding to Trump today.
Somalis are not terrorizing this nation. We are helping it thrive. Somalis have always seen themselves as a fabric of this nation. Not only are we not going anywhere, we are not going to allow anybody to make us feel less Minnesotan or less American.
Okay.
All right.
Yes, non-English speaking Somalians on welfare are the fabric of American society. How have we survived so long without them, I wonder? You know, everybody...
Great. That's great reporting. That's great reporting. So, yeah, let this be known that a lot of nations are coming in here and leeching and mooching off of this country, and they're sending money back to their countries. So you got Somalians coming here, you have Africans, you have Nigerians, you have Mexicans, you have also Chinese. China, even if a person becomes a citizen here, or if they come here on a visa, or they get a job, or they come here to get a job, they have to send money back to China. Mexico, a lot of that money is coming from here. They have people coming across the border and then send the money back. Recently, I saw a report where Mexico now is suffering economically because the people can't cross the border anymore. See, and they can't, and they're scared to work now because of the deportations. Right? You got China, Somalians, Africans, Nigerians. Everybody's coming here, leeching off of the system, getting the welfare, right? Running this little scam. Now, I'm not saying everybody's running that scam, but they run little scams, get on food stamps, get on all this kind of stuff, work under the table, and send the cash back, right? And those nations gladly send them here to America so they can run that cash game. What we can do is say, once we find her guilty, we say, hey, listen, do you want to do this 5-10 years in prison? Or do you want to keep your freedom and go back to your country and be banned from this country forever? Right? And even if we have Republicans that refuse to kick her off a committee, refuse to censure her, and refuse to expel her from Congress, well, it's okay, because she has to leave the country anyway. Because what's going to happen with the Republicans, they're not going to participate. I'm gonna tell you that right now. We need to send some strong people to Congress. Laura Loomer would have been a great one, and I would have been a great one. You know, they're not going to get me to do anything against the American people. I think a lot of these people need to get out of this country anyway. Anyway, like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. I'll see you on the next video.